getting cool outside. I am just taking assessments every day of my plants. Pretty waterlogged right now, actually. We had a ton of rain over the last 48 hours or so. So some of my potted plants that have gotten quite a bit of water, I'm hoping that they'll dry out. We're going to reach the upper 60s next week. Today is Friday. So I'm hoping no more rain in the forecast. I'll be checking to see if there is another chance of rain. I'm going to be bringing my potted plants into my garage so that they can dry out. And you know, once we start getting some consistent cold snaps, I'm going to bring those potted plants in anyway into the garage to overwinter. I haven't had to do that yet because it's been so nice and warm, and you know, the water has been good for some things in terms of leading to some more growth, but some of my new plantings are looking kind of ratty going into their dormancy phase. These are my potted plants. I've got some hydrangea here. I've got some Cuban oregano. I've got some mint, lemongrass back there. So again, these are my baby plants that I propagated, took from cuttings, and just keeping a close eye on them because they are saturated right now because of the rain. I'm hoping they'll dry out and then I can take them into the garage and they won't get root rot. Minimal watering over the winter is what I understand. Now, some of these cuttings are not looking very good at all. They're turning this reddish yellow color. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't look good. But you can see some of my hydrangeas are also turning red, but you've got some new growth here at the very bottom, so that's a good sign. I think the leaves just turn this color as it's getting cooler. Creeping Jenny here is looking good for the most part. I'm hoping it'll dry out because we do see some deadening here and some browning, but obviously some new growth here with this green, which is good. So yeah, here's another creeping Jenny that I took from cuttings. It's done really well. I actually propagated that with the water method, similar to what you would do with basil. This one, I'm not even sure what that is, to be honest with you. I can't remember. But I'm gonna keep these out here on the windowsill so they can dry out, hopefully, even though it's not gonna get super hot. Bee balm here grows by runners, you can see. So there's some new growth down there, but definitely starting to see some browning at the tips of the leaves. So I assume that means this bee balm is going into dormancy for the winter. But obviously seeing this brown or this green down here is a good sign that this plant is healthy. Doesn't this fire cheap arborvitae, this globe, have such a nice red cast to it? It's beautiful. It's turned more red as we've gotten along further in the fall. All that dead stuff. Whew, goodbye. I'm going to clean up my hosta plants. Now you do want to trim those down, leave a couple inches on top, just so you'll know that they exist and come the spring. The reason that I understand you want to clean up the hosta plants in the fall is to prevent slugs from breeding, having a hiding spot under their leaves in the winter. Also, you want to try to prevent fungal disease. So I'm not going to trim up a whole bunch. Right now, it is mid-November at this stage. We've been pretty warm, of course, as you know. So overall, my beds are looking pretty good, but this is a task that I want to go ahead and get done right now. As you can see, the hosta plant is not in great shape right now. A lot of the leaves are yellowing, which is pretty normal. And a lot have just had these persistent holes on them all season long, all throughout the summer, even up to now. So it's been pretty annoying. I'd like to figure out maybe how to prevent that next time. I'm going to have to look into that. I did try some neem oil application that actually ended up just scorching the leaves a little bit. So I'm going to try a different strategy next year. This is a viburnum that's completely confused because it is blooming in the fall. It's supposed to bloom in the spring. Had to rush to bring all my plants inside before we have a chance of snow in the next 36 hours. So I see a big, massive cold front along with some weather moving in. I was looking at the 7-day forecast, and after that, we are going to get back up into the 60s for a little bit. I'm anticipating that will just be brief. So the plants that I brought in right now, it's so they won't get rained on today and then further snowed on. So I'm just bringing those potted plants into my garage right now. I've got to figure out a long-term plan for like a greenhouse effect in the backyard. Hopefully I can keep some plants outside this winter. Of course, that's going to be a work in progress, and I'll continue to fill you guys in on the status of that little project. But I'm going to do an entire video just on this plant alone. This is Nepeta. These 2 plants I took from cuttings, and they're doing so well. It's such a good plant. Absolutely worth your time to try to propagate this from rooted cuttings. That's just from one plant. Huge Nepeta in a planter. Look how big that gets.
Mommy, when can I make my first?
Wow, it's like a big glow. It's like literally looks like a standalone shrub, you know? This has truly been the best plant. I know I talk about it like probably in every video, but this Gara is it just keeps going and going and going. I'm thinking after we have the snow, if we have that tomorrow, it, won't be looking as good. But man, we are in mid-November. And this is a drought-tolerant plant. So with all the rain, I'm surprised it's done this well. But it has really been a great performer. I'm thinking about investing in a couple of other plants next spring, just to kind of create a nice effect here in this bed. Gorgeous. That's just one plant. Amazing. This right here is actually 2 plants. It's called Sweet Woodruff. It is a ground cover, and there's not much there. So we'll see how this does next year. But right now it's looking a little sad. Something has clearly been munching on my yarrow here. Look at that. It used to be like this. Our little friend, our little culprit strikes again.